Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize like the trucking industry is like a billion trillion dollar industry. It's like anytime you see a truck on the road, that's money. That's somebody making money. Every time y'all see these 18-wheelers going up and down the interstate, just know they working hard and somebody making some money. They working hard and somebody making some money. And before I even ran across that piece of information, I didn't think of it that way. It changed my whole mindset about business, about the things that we see. Anything that you see out there is money involved.
Get your water and keep some wine. I should have had some wine.
With exposure, execution, and consistency, there is nothing you can't do. Just keep planting.
Before we get into today's podcast episode, make sure you go to theresponsiblehomegirl.com and download the free money management guide that I have created for you. Most of the time when people are starting their personal finance journey, they know that they want to do better with their money, but don't know exactly where to start. The money management guide is a great way for you to look at what you have going on right now and to take steps so you can get better. Like, I don't want you to get overwhelmed like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this. No, I want you to have a seat, literally sit down, assess what you have going on, and the free money management guide that I created for you will do just that. So make sure you go to theresponsiblehomegirl.com or just click the description, or just click the link in the description box below and go get that. You'll also be on my email list where I'll send out different tips, gems, personal finance stuff, business stuff, all of the Responsible Homegirl things. So make sure you click that link, download that free money management guide, and get your personal finance journey started because, baby, inflation, I'm feeling it.
Oh, hey, what's up, gang? We here with the Responsible Homegirl, Remy J.
This is my podcast. Thank you so much for tuning back into another episode on the Responsible Homegirl podcast. I am Kiani, the Responsible Homegirl, and this is a space that I have created so young adults can become financially responsible and wealth conscious. So the way that I do that is by 1, sharing financial education, and then 2, interviewing amazing entrepreneurs who are building their wealth through business. So today we have no other than Mr. Remy.
Hey, what's up?
Jalen.
What's good?
So today we're going to be digging into his story, his mindset, his business, and of course, how he thinks like a mogul. So thank you for being on the podcast.
You're welcome. Let's get to it.
So I always ask my guests, can you give me an irresponsible financial decision that you've ever made?
A responsible decision that I've made?
No, irresponsible.
Irresponsible? Mm-hmm. Oh, man. That's how we starting off?
Yeah.
I can think of a lot. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't make irresponsible decisions. Right. I would say just blowing money, just spending money on unnecessary things, or spending money on things just to, I wouldn't say show off, but
if that's what it is.
Yeah, just to show off, or going on trips you don't need to go on. Just any kind of thing. Clothes, sneakers, all kind of stuff.
So was there ever a time in your life where you was looking at your account and you was like, damn, where the hell my money went?
I was like, nigga, you tripping.
Yeah.
You tripping. You knew you weren't supposed to spend that, but you spent it. What's that song? Spend the check and get it right.
Listen, that used to be my mindset.
Hey, especially, and as an entrepreneur, it's different now, so it's a completely different mindset. But when you working at 9 to 5, and you got that check coming in every 2 weeks, and payday tomorrow, man, let's go, let's get it.
I'm so happy you brought that up because there's 2 ways to look at that. You can spend a check and get it right back as far as investing, and have that good mindset, like I don't mind taking a risk.
Yeah.
Or spend a check and get it right back. You blowing it and spending your money just as quick as you get it.
And see, that's the thing. I have both. I do both of them. So.
Do you have a balance?
Yeah, I feel like I have a good balance. I mean, some days the balance is kind of, teetering, but over long term, I feel like I have a very great balance of that. So, I may spend a check, blow it, but on the other end, when I see an investment opportunity, I'm like, shit, I'm gonna go ahead and take that risk too.
Absolutely. And I always start off the podcast with asking my guests that because, of course, my brand is the Responsible Homegirl, but I didn't just arrive here.
Okay.
like it took me making a lot of irresponsible financial decisions. So I like to ask my guests that because I want everybody listening to understand, like, if you make irresponsible choices, it's okay. Like, you looking at two people who have made plenty of irresponsible financial decisions, but I mean, I feel like the most important thing to do is like recognize that and then do better.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So now, Remy, let's get into how you grew up and what kind of led you into becoming the entrepreneur that you are today.
Okay, so with me, I need a little more specific questions. So how I grew up, as in what was my lifestyle, like
your childhood.
My childhood,
like,
okay. So I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, born and raised. Here today still. My childhood was pretty. I would say I lived a pretty normal childhood in my eyes. So basically, I had cousins, grandmas, all of that.
I will hope so.
I mean, some people don't have that.
You're right, because I don't have first cousins.
Yeah, I got my first cousins, and all of us were kind of not the exact same age, but we were in a type age group. So I had that's what I'm saying. Some people grow up and they got a big age. It's adults and they don't got little cousins to hang out with, play with and stuff. So basically with me growing up, I had a lot of influential, relatives in my life. Okay. And my life could have went in any direction depending on who I really hooked on to, whose side I stood by. So that's why, So, growing up basically in the country, cousins, they swear they was, I'm not going to say that. But
give my people the real. Give them the real.
So, you got two sides of the family. You got your crazy, bad cousins, and then you got the good side, the good, I ain't gonna say the goody two-shoes, but you got the good cousins, who kind of on the straight path. So it's like the balance, and, I'm kind of in the middle. Okay. So I gotta pick and choose what side I want to be on. So what I did, I played the middleman. So I would learn stuff from, this side of my family, the wild, crazy side, in the streets. I would learn stuff from them. And then I also learned stuff from, the good side, just going to school, the smart decisions to make and stuff like that. So I picked and chose what I needed from both sides. And I think that's, how I developed myself and, who I became today. Growing up, I wasn't really an entrepreneur growing up. Now I think about it, I was just living my life, from day to day. When I really started thinking about entrepreneurship is, I would say, when I went to college. Okay. So that kind of developed my entrepreneur spirit. When I was in high school, I actually did not want to go to college. I didn't want to go to college.
Why not?
Who wanted to do some more schoolwork?
I definitely want to go to college, but not necessarily for the schoolwork, for the experience.
I didn't. I was like, who want to do some more homework? I hated homework. I was like, who want to take some more tests? I want to do that. The only reason why I was doing that stuff because of my mom. She pushed me to do all that good stuff, and I would listen. I would take that into account, and I would do whatever she asked me to do because she provided a roof over my head, buying my clothes and stuff. So that's the least I can do.
Right.
So I remember it was my senior year. I was taking the ACT. Y'all remember that? ACT, SAT, all of that stuff. And I was taking it. I applied to colleges because my mom told me to do so. But my game plan was I'm going to the Air Force. So I was talking to recruiters. Me and my homeboy was talking to recruiters. We was like, we going to the Air Force. Da 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 da. We about to be lit. We about to get paid. We about to be in the military.
And the whole plan.
Hey, y'all know y'all look a man in uniform. Sorry, but serious. But yeah, that was my game plan, was to go into the Air Force. And I knew this man. He was like, he worked 20 years. He drove a nice car. He was in the Air Force. So I was like, all right, I see what you got. I want the same thing. So what happened was, first of all, my homeboy, he couldn't get in because he was too big. He had to lose weight.
Wow.
Remind you, we're in high school, so he's just turning 18, and he too big to get in. He had to lose weight. And what really got me was not that, but when I was talking to the recruiter, she was like, well, you turn in everything, and it'll be 6 months before you can go to basic training.
Why?
I don't know. But she was like, it'll be 6 months before you can go to basic training. And all I was thinking, I got to stay home for another 6 months? Like living with my mama?
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that. So because of that, I decided to go to college.
Wow.
that was my thought process on it. I was like, I'm going to college, and whatever happens, happens.
Mm-hmm. So going into college, because that was not a part of your plan, did you know what you wanted to study, or you were just like, I'm gonna just choose a thing?
I'm gonna just go in there. Well, I was very interested in business. That's all I know. Even in high school, I would be interested in business articles and stuff like that. Forbes, just anything that come on the news that was business like, when they was talking about the stocks. When I grew up, I always said I wanted to be a stockbroker.
Interesting.
So anything dealing with stocks and stuff and all of that, that's what I was interested in. So when I went to college, I just knew I'm gonna pick something around the business, the business aspect. So so basically once I got to college, I decided to study wealth management or wealth management. And I just started doing a lot of research on business, and that's what got me into the entrepreneur lane. And I knew that I never wanted to work for somebody for 20 plus years. So that was the main thing. I didn't like working. I didn't want to work. I believed in working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
So me having a regular job, working a 9 to 5, yeah, that's cool. But I was always thinking ahead of what would I do to get myself out of this 9 to 5, so I don't have to do that for my whole life. Because a lot of I'm not gonna say everyone's, but I know my parents, my mom, she worked basically all her life.
Yeah.
From the day I was born until now, she's still working. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, man, my mama's stressed out. Like, that's stressful to be working a 9 to 5, taking care of 2 kids and things of that nature. So I just knew that's something that I didn't want to do.
So did you you saying like, oh, I just knew that was something. But I feel like because you didn't gain your entrepreneurial spirit until college, did something happen? Like, was it like a significant event? Like, were you reading books, or was it like the stuff that you were studying?
It was.
With inflation going crazy right now, it is very important that you learn how to manage the money that you work so hard for and budget well. Make sure that you make your budget a part of your lifestyle. I know that sometimes budgeting, we can kind of have our own little feelings about budgeting, or we just simply don't do it, or we don't consistently do it. Well, lifestyle budgeting is going to tackle all of those mindsets, all of those things that are stopping you from developing a lifestyle of budgeting. If you want your personal finances to do something different, if you want them to look different, you have to do something different. And the basics is budgeting. Make sure you click the link down below and download the 2022 edition of Lifestyle Budgeting. Let's get right back into the podcast episode.
So it was the stuff that I would say it was the stuff I was studying. So at one point, it's kind of hard to say. So I would say 2 major things happened in college while I was in college.
Okay.
Like I said, I wanted to be a stockbroker when I grew up. My uncle used to tell me about stocks, and I was always interested. So I actually started trading stocks while I was in school.
Okay.
So I ran across, like I said, I read a lot of business stuff. So I ran across this trader. He traded penny stocks. His name was Timothy Sykes. And he became a millionaire by trading penny stocks. Wow. So I was in school and I was like, well, I like stocks. I already had my account set up, and I was like, well, let me try to make some money off stocks. So I was already trading stocks long term, but I was like, let me start trying to speed the price. Yeah, day trade. I was basically like, let me start day trading. So what I would do, I would get my refund checks from school.
Wow.
And I would put them in my stock account. And I would use the money from school, the refund checks, to fund my stock account and to trade stocks. Don't get me wrong, like I said, it's a balance. I would also spend money, and I would buy the clothes, go to parties and all of that, but I still would take my risk on my investments.
Yeah.
So I think that was a major part.
Do you still own some of those stocks?
No, not anymore, not currently.
Okay.
Everything sold. but I'm definitely going to get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
But during that process, I just remember I used to be in class, and it's going to sound bad, but I used to be in class, and I'm not going to lie, I wasn't paying. It was just one class, I would not pay no attention. I used to be sitting in class, I would have my stock account pulled up, and I would day trade my stocks in class.
Oh my God.
So
you going just to say you was there.
Yes. I was in class, day trading my stocks, watching the numbers going up and down while I'm in class.
Wow.
So I would day trade, and I made I made some good money doing that, you know. So that happened. And then I also ran across this website called Bigger Pockets for real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my favorite websites about real estate. So I ran across Bigger Pockets, and I just started reading all the information on there. Yeah. And I was like, all right, well, with me reading this and, you know, thinking how I'm thinking, moving how I'm moving, I knew as soon as I graduated, I wanted to get an investment property as soon as I graduated. So I would say those were the two major things that had me start thinking about like really being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So that's really good. And I feel like from that story, what really stands out to me is like what you were consuming. Mm-hmm. And I always tell people, like, if you want to change your financial situation, you need to read, listen, and then actually apply the information. Yeah. So you said that you love Bigger Pockets, you was consuming all of the information, you knew that you wanted to get an investment property, and you actually did. Yeah. So before we get into like your business and everything that you're doing, can you tell my community about like that process and how old were you when you bought your investment property?
It was 2 years ago. So I think this summer would make 2 years. So I'm 28. So I was 26. So although it didn't happen when I wanted it to happen, and when I thought it was going to happen, I still stuck to the game plan. I still shot for my goals, and I still ended up coming out, you know, and getting it done.
So I want you to talk about like that process and why, because you have a duplex, why choose a duplex versus a single family home? Like, give me your mindset around like this whole investment property situation.
I got you. I mean, so with real estate investment, you can take any route you want to take. You can invest in any type of properties that you want to invest in. So no certain type of way is a wrong way. Right. But the way that I decided to do it, what really caught my interest was doing research on Bigger Pockets. They was always talking about living for free. So I had this saying I used to always tell my friends, or I always tell myself, minimize expenses, maximize profits. Yeah. So that's kind of like my saying to myself: minimize expenses, maximize profits. And one of our biggest expense is living expense, paying rent. Like that's very expensive. Like rent is going up every year. People are paying $1,000, $1,200, $1,300. And I'm in Columbia, and rent is still high. And if you're from Charlotte or you live in Atlanta, I know your rent high as hell. So the way that you can make more money is by eliminating stuff that you have to pay for on a monthly basis. Yeah. So although I'm not physically bringing in more money, me eliminating my expenses is opening up my bank account. It's opening up more money that I already have. Is giving your money that's in your pocket more freedom to do what you want. So that's why I chose to get a duplex. So
so smart.
With the duplex, they call it house hacking. So if you buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, what you typically would do, you would live in one side and rent out the other sides. With you renting out those other sides, you have tenants who are paying you to live there, basically contributing to your mortgage payment. Right. So depending on how you work out your deal, you could have them paying the whole thing or part of it, some of it. It doesn't matter because you're getting rent from them to pay your mortgage while you live completely free or partially free and you're part of the building. Yeah. So
and you're building equity.
Off
of somebody
else's money.
Like, come on.
Yeah, and off somebody else's money. So it's basically somebody paying you to live here. Right. So that's why I chose that route, because I wanted to, right out of college, I kind of wanted to eliminate that big expense. So like I said, the first couple of years, it didn't happen when I wanted it to happen. So I was paying rent, and I'm just thinking like, man, I wish I can keep some of this money in my pocket so I can invest in something else or spend it on something else.
Do you remember how much your rent was?
I really don't. When I got out of school, I had me and my homeboy. We've been friends since like first grade. We decided to get an apartment together. We both were living at home once we got out of college, so we just jumped into an apartment. I'm probably thinking it was like 8 something. It wasn't too crazy. Yeah, I think it was like 800 something per month. That's all it was. So I paid that for about 2 years, and then what happened was I was trying to get the duplex. I had to, you got to get a realtor. Well, you don't have to, but I found a realtor. We were searching. I put a bid in on another duplex close to downtown, and I was just letting him convince me to put a lot of money down. Oh, this is the right one, da 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 da. But only you know what's right for you, and you know what you can afford. So me listening to somebody else dictate my future, I ended up getting out of that deal, and I lost like $2,500.
Wow.
Yeah, so I actually lost money on the first property I tried to get, and that was very discouraging. So like how we talk about the ups and the downs, at that point I definitely hit a down. I was like, man, bump real estate, I ain't doing this, like da 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 da. And I told my mom and my people, they. You know how black mamas is. What, you lost some money, boy? $2,000, boy. You better. They was livid. They were like, call him, da 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 da.
But I mean, that was your earnest deposit, right?
Yeah, that was my earnest money.
Yeah, you get that back.
But yeah, I'm definitely not getting that back. So, but the thing is like, why did I even let him convince me to put that much down on earnest money? That's not a typical earnest money deposit. And that's, the housing market is crazy right now, but that was a couple of years ago.
So how long after that didn't work out did you purchase your investment property? So
after that, I think it took me like one more year. I think one more year after that, that's when I finally actually purchased the investment property that I have now. So I went through the lows. I still stacked my money up. And I just had to kind of push through and get over it. I just had to you said you wanted to do this. You said you wanted this and you wanted to get this. Stick to that game plan and still follow through and still do what you need to do to get there, no matter what.
Yeah.
So, and I always tell people, like, always remember your destination. It don't matter what road you take to get there. It don't matter what job you have, what business you have. Remember that final destination and take whatever road you can to get there.
Absolutely. So, and I'm so happy that you shared that story because everybody not a me. Like, I graduated from college and went back home, lived with my mom. And I mean, of course, like, who wants to be living back at home, but I'm willing to make that sacrifice. You, on the other hand, you like, okay, I'll stay here for a little while, but I eventually want to own something, not sit here for 5, 6, 7 years paying rent.
Yeah.
And most of the people who listen to my podcast are young adults, and I want y'all to understand, like, buying a home doesn't have to be, the end all be all. It don't have to be someplace that you're staying for 30
Forever.
years.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Do you even envision yourself staying here that long?
No, so my plan is to move out and to rent my side out too.
Right.
So when I move out and rent this side out, I basically have 2 doors, 2 units. So I'm gonna have 2 people paying me rent instead of 1. So that's another reason why I decided to get the duplex. So it's 1 mortgage, but it's 2 units.
Yeah.
So
I want all of us listening to like just really think about, like I always say, wealth conscious. Like you got to be conscious of how you can keep more money in your pocket and how you can attract more money to you. And like you said, like decreasing that major living expense, aka rent, is definitely one of the ways to do that. Or if you have the opportunity to move back home, do that.
Don't get me wrong. So after I lost that money, the earnest money, after that 2nd year, I moved back home for a year too. So I was living back at home with my mom. Kind of like I said, it was kind of a down. So I lost my money. I done moved back home. Like it was kind of like But that really, like when I moved back home, I think that kind of kicked me into overdrive. That kind of had me working harder and working more smarter. So I'm just. I don't know. It kicked me down for a minute, but overall it motivated me more to get moving and get off my ass. You know? And then one more thing I meant to mention, especially for first-time home buyers, With the duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, you can actually purchase those using like an FHA loan. So, if you're a first-time home buyer, you can actually get a loan for like 3.5% down. If you're in the military, you can use your VA loan. So, a part that I skipped, I actually did end up going into the military, but I did the National Guard. So it's basically part-time. So I did that because I wanted the benefits of being in the military, but not actually being there full time.
Yeah.
So after I served my time, I did my 6 years. I was able to use the VA loan. So basically, I was able to get a loan with 0% down. So no money down. I just had to pay my closing costs, basically, and whatever little other stuff I had to pay for. So basically, for first-time home buyers, you can get a big jump by eliminating your living expense.
Yeah.
You got that first-time home buyer's loan, 3.5% down. If you got military benefits, VA loan, you can really get a head start on life because, like I said, like she said, the goal doesn't have to be I'm gonna buy a house and stay here for forever.
Right.
But let's build up, your wealth. Let's think about long-term goals.
Yeah.
Let's have somebody else pay for the home while you move out and move to a different location. Yeah. Like, a lot of different stuff is possible.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and bash rent because I understand, some people have to pay rent. But literally, when you pay rent, your money is going in the trash can. When your lease is up, you got to take your little belongings and get up out of there. Versus if you wanted to move someplace today or tomorrow, I mean, you could still rent out the side like you said. Or if you wanted to sell your home, you could and get some money back. So I just want us to be conscious and aware of ways that we can build wealth. So now, you have something else to say?
Oh, I was about to say, that rent money not going in the trash. It's going into somebody else's pockets. You making somebody else.
Correct me. Correct me.
You making somebody else's pockets real heavy. Yeah. So, and it could be you.
Yeah.
It could be you.
Absolutely. So now let's transition into your business. We didn't even tell the people what you do. So can you talk to them about your company?
All right.
Yeah. I am bringing back the Patreon. Inside of the Patreon, we are doing a book club that starts on July 1st. And I'll put the name of the book, the title of the book, the link to the book in the description box. But in the Patreon, this is going to be an exclusive community where we are just going to help each other out on our journey, right? Our personal finance, our entrepreneurship journey. And all of my close home girls, close home boys who actually come inside of the Patreon, just know that I have something very special cooking up for y'all. So if you want to be a part of the book club, the only way that you can join is inside of the Patreon. So click the link in the description box to join the Patreon. And like I said, book club is starting on July 1st. Also, inside of the Patreon, you will get access to the Think Like a Mogul podcast episodes first. So before they come out on a Tuesday, I'll say you'll probably get access to it days before. So maybe a Friday, maybe a Saturday, maybe even on a Thursday. I haven't really figured out the schedule yet, but you will get access to it before the general population. And we'll be talking about different podcast episodes, having the after show. You'll be able to ask me questions that I can give back to my guests and they can answer them for you. So this is really just a community to dig deeper and to really make the change and see the change that we want to see in our personal and our professional lives.
So other than the real estate is my end goal. I want to I said 20 rental properties. But other than that, I actually started a trucking business. It's called Grand Champion Transport.
Come on, Grand Champion.
Yeah. And I'm also starting a dispatch service. It's going to be called Grand Champion Logistics. So that's in the works. That's going to be launching in the next couple of weeks.
Love that.
So, yeah.
So tell me, how did you even, get the want or the desire to get a trucking company? Are you a truck driver?
No, I'm definitely not a truck driver. I'm not a truck driver. I actually can't drive long distances without getting tired. So that's kind of out of the question. But what happened was, like I said, how we talked about always consuming information. I'm always looking at business, money, wealth, and just how can I improve my life, my family lives, or create something that we can pass down to our next generation. And, just create better lives for our people.
Right.
So I ran across on Instagram this guy called Alex Burton, and he has a company called Good Energy Worldwide. And he actually owns a trucking business, multi-million-dollar trucking business. And I think I started following him in 2018.
Okay.
And he only had like 9,000 or 10,000 followers.
Wow.
But I'm the type of person, I realize when I connect with people, I can tell when someone is special or when someone has a special gift. I can kind of feel that energy. So when I saw him, I was like, okay, this guy different. Like I can feel the good energy. His company's called Good Energy Worldwide. I can feel it. So I started following him, and as I'm still working to get this duplex. I'm thinking about my next move even after that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to be working this job for forever. How can I get out this job and get my duplex? So I made a vow to myself, before I quit my job, I will get what I want out of them.
Wow.
So I'm going to use my 9 to 5 to get what I want. Before I leave, I'm going to get what I want. So in the process of getting the duplex, I was also working on how can I get this trucking business going. So I researched his page. He had a course as well. His course was like $2,000. 2 bands. 2 bands.
Give me the real. Did you invest?
2 bands. Your boy was desperate, and I ain't gonna say desperate, but I was determined to leave my job. The job I was on like year 3 or something, and I ain't gonna lie, I was feeling miserable working there. My spirits were not high. My motivation for the job was very low.
Yeah.
And I just kind of know that's not the life I want to live for the next couple of years. And there were people there at the job who was there for 10, 15, 20 years, and they happy. And that's what they want to do. But that's not me.
Right.
So I got to do what's best for me. So, yeah, I ran across Alex Burton page. I watched him for like a whole year, I think, before I actually bought the course. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. But I watched for a while before. You know how black people do. You gotta see it to believe it. Yeah, we gotta take our time. We scared.
Okay.
We scared to invest. But
we gonna get back to that point. Why are we scared? I'm not even gonna say we, because I mean.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't develop, the boy, I take risk all the time. I take risk all the time, but I like to take calculated risk as well.
Absolutely.
I like to make sure, I done lost that money. I already lost $2,500, remember?
Right.
So now I done lost $2,500, and now the course $2,000. I'm like, damn, why the course so high? So, but watching him and feeling the energy and looking at the community that he was building, like I said, he only had like 10,000 followers. But by like that next year or so, like he was up to like 30, going on 40, 50. Wow. Like now he probably has
hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds. So in the meantime, I bought the course. I did end up investing into the course. And I started studying the course. I started studying trucking. And I didn't realize like the trucking industry is like a billion trillion dollar industry. It's like anytime you see a truck on the road, that's money. That's somebody making money. Every time y'all see these 18-wheelers going up and down the interstate, just know they working hard and somebody making some money. They working hard and somebody making some money. And before I even ran across that piece of information, I didn't think of it that way. It changed my whole mindset about business, about the things that we see. Anything that you see out there is money involved. So you got to kind of switch your mindset and you gotta look at stuff differently.
I feel like that goes back to being aware. And I discovered Alex by listening to, I want to say it was either Earn Your Leisure podcast, I think. And I'm like, dang, people make all this money in trucking?
Yes, it's a very lucrative business.
You invested in this course, which kudos to you. Y'all know I'm always telling you to invest because you're paying for somebody else's mistakes. Not saying that you're not going to make your own mistakes, but you can expedite your process by not going through some of those same things. And
that's why I purchased his trucking course, because he was in the business. He told, like I said, if you watch one of his interviews, he told how he grew up. He did box trucks, he did party promoting.
And lost hella money.
He lost money. And I think the problem is everybody's scared to lose money. In life, you're going to lose money.
Right.
some way, somehow, you're gonna make mistakes, but you got to be able to push through and continue on your path.
Right.
So, yeah, I bought the course. I studied. You know, he had videos, documents you can read. It was a very excellent course. I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Come on.
So, I mean, yeah, that's just me being real.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that because spending $2,000 on a course that I have no idea where it's going to lead me, you know, or I have no idea what's actually in the course. I just see the promotions, you know, the testimonials, and I just believed in it. And after you believe in that, you got to believe in yourself to execute. You got to execute.
Come on.
So commit and execute. So
yeah.
With that, is to say, you know, this interview is not even strictly just about trucking, but whatever you want to do, whatever you want to invest in, don't be afraid to invest in that course.
Absolutely.
Like, don't be scared. Like, you got to consume the information. You got to get the information. You're paying for somebody else's mistakes. They made the mistakes, and they trying to save you time and save you money by helping you push through, go forward.
Absolutely. So you invest in this course.
Mm-hmm.
You execute. You take action. So now you start taking action in this business. Tell me some of the challenges. Like, was there anything that caught you by surprise? You're like, damn, this is harder than what I thought it was.
It wasn't. Listen, I committed, I executed, and I would say I'm gonna blame myself because they laid the blueprint, but I kind of veered away from the blueprint that they laid out for me. So I executed, but I didn't execute all the way how they told me to execute.
You want to do it your way.
Yeah, I want to do it. Instead of listening to the man who done made mistakes and got $1 million, I wanna do my little thing, you know.
Men, I tell you.
So when somebody laid the blueprint, I suggest following the blueprint. Follow the blueprint. So my first year in trucking was horrible. It was bad. It was depressing. It was sad. It was rough. It was a lot of mistakes were made. A lot of money was lost. So just to dig deeper in that, so I executed. I got my truck and everything, and basically I connected with this woman, you know, working at my job, and connecting with her. She was like, yeah, I got trucks and stuff too. I'm a dispatcher. You get in a truck, I'm gonna dispatch your trucks for you, basically. So I'm thinking, like, instead of following their blueprint and what they recommended, I was like, ooh, I got my own truck plug right here in the same city as me. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I think some people don't like to do business because of distance, like long distance. I think that's the type of conversation. So it's like, all right, this person is doing business over in this state.
Right.
I might not be able to do it in my state, or I'm scared to do it in my state because they doing it over there and there's nobody to help me over here. It's just me. So for me, that's how I was kind of thinking. And I was like, well, I'm going to connect with this woman because she's right here.
She right there.
She right here.
She accessible.
She accessible. And I thought that was going to make my business boom. But it didn't. It made things rough. Very rough.
Right.
So I connected with this woman. I ended up getting my truck and stuff, and I think I did kind of quit my job prematurely. I would say I think I could have stayed probably an extra year. I could have did, some more things, but that was my game plan. I didn't, all the things that I said I was going to do, I did it, and then I stopped. So it's like I crossed the finish line, and then I was like, oh, it's over with. Game over. It's over. And that's not the case. We got to keep running. We got to keep going. We got to keep going.
Especially if the stuff's not really working out.
Yeah, we got to keep going.
The way you want it to work out.
But I didn't know that just yet. I thought everything was going to work out perfectly when I should have known it wouldn't. Or I should have anticipated more. Go ahead.
So in the beginning, were things good and then it took a turn?
So...
Because it had to be going good for you to quit your job.
No, I bought the house. I got my truck. And I had the blueprint, so I was like, I'm about to make some money. So I quit. I'm gone.
Come on.
I'm out. We riding into the sunset. We retired early.
Okay.
So I connected with the woman. Things were starting, and it started off really slow, and things picked up. But when things picked up, I wasn't making no money.
Interesting. Why?
I was putting out as much money as I was getting in.
If you love the Responsible Homegirl podcast, there are plenty of ways to show your support. I have them also listed in the description box. 1, leave us a rating or review. 2, email me a review of the podcast so that I can share on social media. 3, I have listed our PayPal where you can send whatever you feel led to send. Or 4, by joining our Patreon, our exclusive community where we host book clubs and we talk about all things personal finance and entrepreneurship. Whatever you decide to do, just know that I am so grateful and I appreciate you for sharing the Responsible Homegirl with all of your homegirls and all of your homeboys. Thank y'all so much.
So with trucking, you can do loads, depending on how you're running your trucking business. You can do a load, and the load can be $1,000, $1,200, $1,600. You got loads, even, short loads like $800, $600. It's money in trucking.
So break this down for me. What's a load?
So basically with trucking, so you got the 18-wheeler, right?
Okay.
And then you also see that they have the trailers on the back.
Okay.
Yeah, the loads are basically whatever the trucker or the owner decides to carry in back of that truck.
Okay.
So you have drive-ins where you carry dry goods. So it could be like furniture, just any type of dry equipment. They have reefers. Those are refrigerated loads. So those are like consumables. So like ice cream, anything cold, like fruit or anything that needs to be below a certain temperature.
So all of that stuff be in trucks?
Yeah. Everything that we have in our homes, everything that you guys see in the stores are carried by trucks.
Wow.
That's why they always going. That's why you always see them going up and down. A store, I'm pretty sure y'all pulled up to the grocery store and y'all seen the truck unloading. Or you pull up even to the gas station. You see the gas tanks. That's trucking. So
the way that y'all make money is, of course, by
transporting the goods from the shipper to the receiver. From this person to that person.
Okay, so you said you were spending just as much money
as I was taking in.
As you was taking in.
So I'm gonna break that down. So like I said before, I kind of messed myself up because, like I said, my minimize expenses, maximize profits. But with trucking, when you own a truck, the expenses are high. Unless you got a good connect and you really, zone in and you know how to minimize those expenses with your truck. Okay. So to break it down, we were running loads. The main thing, communication with her was horrible. Horrible communication is not good for business.
Absolutely not, ever. Even relationships.
Even any type of relationship. The communication was bad. And from the beginning, the communication was good, but once things got started, the communication was bad. It was bad. So basically, she was booking my loads. She was my dispatcher. She was booking my loads. She found a driver for me. My first driver, he was slack. He was really slack. Instead of him working every day, I guess he had this side job where he was doing some tattoos. So some days he wouldn't want to work because he want to go do tattoos. And I think that aspect was code word for he wanted to be with his family. He'd rather just take the day off and be with his family. Because when you're in the trucking industry, you have drivers who deliver locally, like within the state. So they go out and they come right back home, and they like to be home every day. And then you have some drivers who stay over the road, so they call OTR. So drivers who will go out and they'll stay out on the road for like 2-3 weeks, if that. So, and some of them have families, some of them don't. It just depends on their preference. But I did notice a lot of drivers do like to be home with their families and stuff. So,
but when your truck is not on the road,
you're not making money.
You're not making no money.
And you still, I'm going to get to it. So if your truck is not moving, you're not making money. But the bills don't stop.
Ooh.
The bills don't stop. So I hired a dispatcher. We got a driver. He was slack. Her communication was slack. It was so bad with the first driver, we ended up firing him. And then shortly after, we got another driver. So he was a better driver, but the communication still wasn't good. And I think he wasn't doing everything that I feel like an experienced driver should do.
Right.
So, like I said, so she's booking loads. Loads are, like I said, I'm getting loads for like $1,000, $1,200, $1,600, $2,400.
And this is just one load.
Yeah, these are one load. Yeah, it's one load. So typically, the driver would pick up a load in the morning, and if it's short enough, they can deliver same day. Or typically, they will pick up a load in the morning and deliver next day in the morning, and pick up another load and deliver the next day in the morning. So you typically want to have them picking up a load, delivering that next morning, picking up another load, delivering that next morning, keeping the money flowing every day.
Right.
But sometimes she would book like 2-day loads, 3-day loads, and then anything can happen. So just to kind of bring it all together. So we booking these loads, communication horrible.
He want us to know, y'all. That
The communication
was
key.
horrible.
Communication is key. So with the money that you're getting for the loads, these companies, they're not paying you right when you get the load. So you have to go what they call a factoring company. You have to get a factoring company so the factoring company can pay you for that load the next day. Because these companies, it's kind of similar to like, I guess, business credit, like net 30s and stuff. So they typically, when you book a load with a company, they have like 30 days to pay you.
Interesting.
Yeah, or more depending on the company. So you get a factoring company. So when you get the invoice, basically we call it a rate con. You get the rate con and you submit the bill of lading to the factoring company, and they pay you out typically the next day in 24 hours. Good. So your cash flow for your business is good. But like I said, communication was horrible. So sometimes she would not submit. She was also submitting my stuff to the factoring company. So my stuff was being submitted late, or she would submit the stuff to the factoring company, and they were like, something is wrong, so you got to resubmit it again. So it'll be days where my cash flow is messed up, and I have to pay the driver. I have to pay for gas. Y'all know how much diesel fuel is right now?
Listen.
The insurance is coming up. Like, I have to pay these things. So,
and she ain't submit the paperwork.
Or she would submit it and it's messed up, or like I said, the communication with the driver, like, it was horrible. It was bad. So long story short, I have to pay the driver. Driver probably paying him like $1,200, $1,400 a week, $1,500, depending on how much he ran that week. So driver gotta get paid every week. Absolutely. Whether if the factory company paid me or not, he still gotta get paid unless he gonna walk away. Right. And
he's still not gonna make no money because you're not driving the truck.
Exactly. So, and I have to pay for fuel every week. Fuel was probably, I would say, like $1,000 a week or so. And it's way more now because diesel prices are extremely high. And then I have my truck payment and insurance. And insurance was high as hell. My insurance probably was like, I don't know lie, y'all. My insurance was like $2,200 a month.
$2,200 a month?
And that's whether if your truck move or not.
Wow.
And that's on top of the truck payment. And that's on top of the driver payment every week. And that's on top of the fuel being paid out every week. So trucking is very expensive. So my whole concept of minimize expenses, maximize profits, it kind of veered me away from it.
And you had to pay the...
Yeah, and I got to pay the dispatcher lady.
Yeah. Wow.
Fucking on my business. I'm sorry. I can't say that on here. I'm sorry, friend. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's fine. But I mean, it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
So now I can kind of see why you say in the beginning it was like...
Yeah, so my first year of trucking was a disaster. But that's what I was talking about. You got to stay strong and you got to power through. Right. And you gotta still be able to learn. You still gotta be able to consume new information, and you gotta be willing to change. So what I got going on now is completely different from what I had going on last year. And my game plan now is more, I have a way better strategy and a way better game plan than what I had before because of all the mistakes that I made.
Right.
So because of those mistakes, I've changed my game plan. I tweaked my game plan to something that I know that's going to be way more beneficial, profitable, and just something that's going to be great.
Right.
It's going to be awesome.
So one thing that stood out to me from this story, you telling me all of these different people, you know, that's a part of the equation. So do you feel like, looking back at it now, you tried to not do nothing too early?
Kind of.
Because I don't see where you fit in yet.
So kind of, yes. That's another thing that I want to get into. Kind of, yes, kind of, but also no. Okay. So it's a balance. So one thing that I did want to touch on when I tell people my story about the first year trucking, make sure you have the right team. Make sure you have the right people around you. That's very important to your success. Surround yourself with the right people. It's just like in what they say, birds of a feather flock together, and who you surround yourself with, that's important in business as well. So not just so I feel like if I have stuck to their game plan and I did business with strictly them, probably still would have been some mistakes made, but I think I would have been in a way better predicament. I would have surrounded myself with people who had the knowledge, who had the experience, who I could have learned from versus someone who just said, hey, I do trucking too. And really, they don't know no more than probably me.
Right.
Are you?
Yeah.
And they just out there winging it. And I could have been with somebody who did this for 10, 20 years and who proven success track record of having a successful trucking business.
Yeah.
So I probably could have stepped in and did more, but at the same time, I believe in surrounding yourself with the right people and building that perfect team.
Yeah.
Building that perfect team around you. So even if you decide not to do nothing, you can still learn.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because just from hearing your story, I just felt like, the lady doing this, you don't drive, so like it's just like you kind of had to learn why the stuff was going on instead of being in the mix. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, but my goal is to have passive businesses as well. So I like my business to be very, very passive.
Because you don't want to do that.
That's the goal. So
that's the goal, but I feel like with passive income, it has to be active first, because if not, you'll end up losing money because people messing up your stuff and you don't know it yet because you ain't did it yet.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
But if you got the perfect team with people you can trust and people who has a successful track record of doing stuff, then you can still be successful. That's like investment banking. Like these people with millions of dollars, they don't know how to invest. They take their money and they find somebody who's trustworthy with money, and they give them their money to invest. And they be like, all right, I'll be back later. They don't do nothing, and they still make money. They still have success with that. But also, if you give your money to somebody who doesn't have a proven track record, who isn't really trustworthy with money, but you just like, all right, here. You give them your money, you come back to nothing. Exactly. So I get what you're saying. I do agree. Sometimes you do have to step into the business, but also I feel like even if you do not decide to, you still just should build that perfect team. Make sure you validate who you're working with. Validation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, but hey, my new game plan, I'm definitely gonna be involved.
Period. And I can't wait to have you back so we can talk more about it. But now, being that like you was in trucking, you still are in trucking.
Still in trucking.
So you're coming up on 2 years, or could you say your first year?
Yeah, so I'm coming up on, I think it's 2 years.
So coming up on 2 years, do you envision yourself having more trucks, or do you feel
that's the new game plan?
Do you feel like this is just,
new game plan? So
put your foot in the water.
So now, how I have it set up. So before, even though I wasn't physically involved, like I said, I still had to pay the gas bills, had to watch out for the gas all the time. I had to do payroll, documentation. I had to make sure I collect all my documents, which was very hard because the lady wouldn't send me my stuff when I needed her to send it.
Right.
So, but now the way I have it set up right now, so I still have my trucking business, but now I took my truck. It's even more passive now. I still don't do that. But I actually took my truck and I partnered up with a broker I basically partnered with the broker, and I basically have my truck leased on. So I still have my truck, but I have it leased on with them, and they basically run all the operations for me. And they're actually local, or they're in West Columbia, and I met them through my dad. So, but with the mistakes that I made, I'm definitely still more involved and more in tune to what's going on. So, so every week, I go pick up my check. I drive down there, my truck there. I get to look at my truck. I'm talking to the broker, like, and they basically do everything as far as they have their drivers, so they pay their drivers. They take out the money for the gas, take out for the insurance and all of that. So the only thing I have to do is just go pick up my check.
Wow.
And the communication is much better. I would say way better.
I love that for you.
Way better. So every week, what today is?
Now let me check the day.
What today?
It's Sunday.
Sunday. So I go pick up my check every Tuesday. I go pick
I
up the money.
love that. And I feel like, I mean, this is your second year. You still got so much more to learn.
I got more. That's what I'm saying. So for my first year, y'all, I ain't made no money. I spent money, like all my savings and stuff. I spent like just trying to keep my business alive. So from going from that to now this with way better communication. I see what's being taken out. I see what's being used. Things are way more visible and understanding. Yeah. Because last year it was hard to tell what was going on and what was really. Yeah. So from going from that to now, every Tuesday, I just go pick up a check and go take it to the bank account.
Y'all see that smile?
Yeah, get the check, take it to the bank account, and that check clear out, Tuesday, my happy days. Yeah. You know how people hate Mondays? I love Tuesdays. But so from that, like I said, I'm developing a new game plan. So I'm starting a dispatch company. Okay. So basically, what she was doing, I'm going to be doing. Because the way she was doing it, I said, I know I can do this better.
And have superb communication.
Yes. Okay. And Alex, he actually has a dispatch course too. Okay. So I got that course too. So I got a trucking course and a dispatch course. So I got everything I need to make sure my business is successful and to make sure that it grows. So my game plan now, I actually do not plan to get any more trucks. As of now, I do not plan to. Like I said, just like real estate, the truck prices are very high right now. The same truck that I bought for about $50,000. The same truck is at the same place that I bought it from, with more miles on it. It's like $92,000. Wow. So
inflation is real.
Inflation, and so if you want to get in a truck, and you're gonna have to pay a price. As of right now, you're gonna have to pay a price. So what I actually plan on doing is, just like how I have my truck leased on, I still have my company. Once I start dispatching, I'm going to look for owner-operators to lease on to my company. And more than likely, I'm going to get my truck back on with me and dispatch it myself. Right. Because like I said before, that didn't work. But with me dispatching myself, it's going to be... the check's gonna be rolling in good. Period. Find owner operators, and while I said the owner operators, like I said, the truck prices are high right now. But if I hire owner operators, they pay for their own trucks, so they're paying for their own gas. You don't have that expense. Minimize expenses, maximize profit. So they're paying for their own gas. Truck breakdowns. I didn't even talk to y'all about that. Ooh. Every time my truck went to the shop, it was a band. Wow. Band every time. Breakdown bands. But so they're gonna be paying for their own truck maintenance, and basically it's gonna minimize those expenses for my company. Right. So, when you see a good company, and when those people are looking and they're valuing companies, they're looking at the company's spreadsheets, they're looking at how much are you bringing in and how much are you kicking out. Yeah. So my new game plan, let's really minimize how much we kicking out. Yeah. So although I have my truck, I love my truck, it's cool. I'm gonna have those expenses minimized.
I'm so excited for you. Because I can see the vision,
Mm-hmm.
and like you actually done like sat down, thought about it, you know, made the mistakes, you know, lost some money, and you like, you know, I ain't trying to go back down that path no more. I'm here for it. Not saying that you won't make more mistakes, but you definitely figured it out. Figuring it out.
And on top of all of that, like I said, I love passive income. So ultimately, on top of all of that, like I said, I'm gonna start dispatching.
Okay.
But I'm gonna start a dispatching team.
Period.
So with my dispatching team, I want to have, like I said, owner operators, and we're gonna dispatch other company trucks. And as a dispatcher, you make money from booking the loads and basically taking care of the day-to-day operations. So once I build my dispatching team, of course, I gotta vet some people out.
Yeah.
I have a team that's dispatching other company trucks for me, and I'll be making money off that as well. So that's going to also become a passive income once everything is set into place and all the stones, you know, are in place there. So that's going to be another one of my passive incomes.
Yeah.
So, and my goal is not to only, and I know we always talk about like making money and stuff, but that's the goal. But I also want to help other people make money.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like if you can help other people make money and you can help other people reach their goals, that's a successful business. So the reason why I did decide to go ahead and start dispatching, I don't want anybody to go through what I went through before.
Yeah.
So my whole goal is to make sure like these new companies coming in or somebody who's struggling to make money in the trucking business, that I can help them, because I made those mistakes before. I've been through the down of trucking and whatnot. So I want to be able to help other up and coming truckers make their money too.
Absolutely.
So,
and I think that's a perfect way to segue into my next question before like our last section. So anybody listening right now who wants to get involved in the trucking industry, can you give me like a 1, 2, 3, like a step, like what should they do? Where should they start? How can they actually execute, like you said earlier?
Well, it just depends on the route that they want to take. So if you actually, because I know a lot of people have been getting their CDLs. I don't have my CDL, so I don't even drive the trucks.
I don't even drive the
truck. Yeah, I don't even drive the truck. But if you're a good driver and you're looking to get your CDL, or if you're in the process of getting your CDL, I would recommend definitely starting your own trucking business. So that way you can reap the benefits of everything that you do as a driver. So right now, like I said, the truck prices are high. So for me, like I said, me personally, I will wait till the truck prices drop a little bit before you purchase your own truck. So if you got a CDL,
what if it's the new normal though?
If this the new normal, we in for a ride.
I understand.
You might, if this the new normal, we in for a ride. We in for a ride.
I don't believe in waiting. I just
you
feel
believe
like
in going
forward.
So
we be waiting on stuff and the stuff never like.
You're right.
You know.
So yeah, if you got your CDL, or even if you just want to invest in trucking, I would say if you got your CDL, yeah, buy your own truck, and you know you can start your trucking company with just you, yourself, and and your truck, and you can dispatch yourself, and you'll definitely feed the family, feed yourself. If you don't want to drive, you can still purchase a truck, but I would just recommend doing a lot more research, or like I said, buying a course or anything of that nature if you're going to be investing like myself. Or, like I said, if you don't want to actually purchase your truck, I definitely recommend looking into dispatching trucks, so that way you still can learn the ins and outs of the trucking business by being a dispatcher. So you will still have a lot of knowledge. So if you do decide to buy a truck, you would be the person who will be able to go ahead and dispatch and run your own company that way as well.
Absolutely. I love that. Hope y'all taking notes, but most importantly, taking action. Because I love just your transparency, like just telling us how bad the first year was, but like how you also took accountability for the mistakes. But moving forward, it's gonna get greater than great.
My mama told me to dispatch it myself, but I didn't listen.
Listen to
Mama,
your
I love
mama.
You. Mama, I love you.
Listen to the mama, please. Okay, Remy. So now we're about to transfer into our soul food section, which is basically like our speed round. So I'm gonna ask you a question, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to your head. Okay? So the first thing.
All right.
So those of you listening, y'all know I'm from King Street, South Carolina, which is a very country town, and I love soul food. So we're going to get right into it. I feel like we live in a time period where everybody wants stuff so fast. Like, they want the microwavable things. Can you tell me where something had to slow cook in a crock pot for you?
Something that had to slow cook?
In regards to, like, your business or money.
So relating that to business or money. I would say slow cook. I would say stocks. So remember I told you I was day trading?
Yeah.
I also learned recently with the crypto and everything. Day trading is cool. You can make money day trading, but buying and holding, that's that slow cook. Like, if you invest your money into a good company and you buy a lot of it and you just hold on for a while, hold on for a year, 2, 3 years, your money gonna be up. So a lot of people want to buy the crypto or buy stock now and they want to sell now. Fast. Yeah, they want to get it fast. So you can make money that way, but you can also hurt yourself that way. I found out if you buy and hold, that's a good way to make some money too.
Love that.
So buy it and keep it in your back pocket.
Period.
Yeah.
So next question, the go-to. You know, all of us, we have our go-to soul food meal. It never disappoints. We can always go to it. What's your go-to? What keeps you? Why are you laughing? What keeps you inspired and motivated to being the businessman that you are?
My go-to. I guess just envisioning the life that I really want for me and my family, and just the life, just the lifestyle. Like I said, that destination that I want to get to. That's my go-to. It's like, all right, if I said this is what I want, what am I willing to do to get there? Yeah, like get up,
and sacrifice.
And sacrifice, yeah. So when sometimes when them days get low, you gotta think about what did you say you want, and one thing that I recently learned, because I was listening to the 10X, you know, if anybody listens to the Grant Cardone, I love him. He's very motivating. Yeah. 10X by Grant Cardone. He was saying, like, you know, your dreams and setting like your goals, make them big. 10X them. So I feel like one mistake that I made, I set my goals, but they wasn't big enough. So it's like once I reached those goals, that's when I say I quit. I thought I was done.
You was chilling.
I was chilling. Yeah. But my goals, it's just that my goals weren't big enough. So now, I mean, I suggest for everyone, think about your goals and 10X your goals. Yeah, 10X your goals. So.
Okay, next, the itis. You know, once we eat that real good meal, we get tired, we want to lay on the chair. What is something that you're tired of seeing in regards to either money or business?
What I'm tired of seeing? All right. I don't know if it's going to be too real, but I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all on TikTok and a lot of y'all on Instagram. And you know what I've been seeing a lot of? Everybody saying, oh, you can make money doing this business. You can make money doing that business. Airbnb, this, that, and that. Yeah, you can. But you gotta show me them numbers. You gotta really go in debt. You gotta really go in detail for me. So those little short clips and you saying you can do this, you can do that, it's like, have you done it? Yeah. Have you experienced it? What's the pitfalls, the ups and downs? Yeah. Like show us you doing it so we can really see, is that something that we really want to do? Because a lot of people just saying going out there and they may be selling courses on stuff that they didn't even actually do before. They just did the research and they made the course and selling it. But have you ever really went through that business? And so I'm tired of seeing people saying this, and this, and that, but they not giving us the details.
And the real.
Yeah, the real. They not keeping it real with us. Yeah. They not keeping it real. And I'm tired of people not keeping it real. We need more authentic people in the world. So all your favorite gurus and stuff, we need them. We need the authentic people. Yeah. We need realness.
Also, I want to, play devil's advocate for the other side as well. We as consumers, we need to do better research. We can't just invest in something so quick because of what somebody said or, all the likes or the shares or whatever. Yeah. So I definitely agree with you on that.
But I think the best way to go through it is to go through it. You gotta experience it.
You absolutely do. And but you also have to invest in your self-education.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah. Come on, you just follow on course. Stop it. Yeah. So last but not least, That's good. So, you know, if you bite into some real good soul food, if it's good, you probably want to say, that's good. You annoying. So close us out with some words of wisdom for either a current entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur.
Like I said, 10 extra goals. Whatever you think you want to do 10 extra. Make it 10 times bigger. Dream big, shoot big, go big, and you will go further in life. Mm-hmm. So when you feel like you reached the finish line, keep going, because the work is not done. The work is never done. The work is never done. Keep going. Keep going.
Thank you so much. This was good. I learned a whole lot from you.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Y'all, thank you so much for tuning into another episode on the Responsible Homegirl podcast. Like I always tell y'all, with exposure, execution, and consistency, there is absolutely nothing you can't do. So see y'all next time.
Hey.
That was good.
Hey.
If you love the Responsible Homegirl podcast, there are plenty of ways to show your support. I have them also listed in the description box. 1, leave us a rating or review. 2, email me a review of the podcast so that I can share on social media. 3, I have listed our PayPal where you can send whatever you feel led to send. Or 4, by joining our Patreon, our exclusive community where we host book clubs and we talk about all things personal finance and entrepreneurship. Whatever you decide to do, just know that I am so grateful and I appreciate you for sharing the Responsible Homegirl with all of your homegirls and all of your homeboys. Thank y'all so much.